looks like I'm getting this tech thing under control. And I've changed things up, try to make a little bit better viewpoint. Make sure I'm not getting my head cut off and you can see me well and hear me well. Okay, I hope this works. How's that? Yeah. I think that my head is not getting cut off. And we got about a minute, 60 seconds before class starts officially. How you doing? Welcome. I feel like the possibility of my head getting cut off on that is still there, so I'm just going to change this from a nice little piece. I hope that does it. Well, very good morning. 8 a.m. on the dot. And welcome. My name is Eric. I'll be your guide over the next 25 minutes or so. And welcome on behalf of Comeback Yoga, a nonprofit organization that provides free yoga classes in person and online to veterans and their friends and families and supporters. We're out of Colorado, so from the Front Range to the slopes, western slopes of Colorado, we have in-person classes. And then, of course, this being online, we have practitioners from all over the world. I want to thank Comeback Yoga for all the work they do for so many. If you have the ability to come to a class, we would love to have you, or participate or volunteer, or if you have resources that you'd like to donate, we sure could use your donations. And so without further ado, let's get into our practice. So we're emphasizing the upper body. So we want to release the upper body. Hopefully by doing these exercises, we can make the upper body more functional. And our emphasis on the upper body with the idea of fostering rhythm and flow. Rhythm and flow. So this actually has a Western term. It's called being in the zone. Do you know what it feels like to be in the zone? What activity or sport or art do you participate to find flow or rhythm or vinyasa? That's the term from yoga, is vinyasa, this flow. For me, it was playing basketball and also playing rugby. I played rugby for many years, so finding flow, playing the game, that were for me were natural ways of finding that flow. All right. But the interesting thing about yoga is that we can foster that sense of flow or being in the zone in anything we do in our everyday life. We don't have to just leave it up to the whims of life or playing our favorite sport or doing our favorite art. We can actually foster it so that it's a part of any part of our day, and we can do it deliberately. So we're going to work on finding this flow, and of course starting with the breath. So we have a couple breaths. The last class I went to a little bit more detail, so I will just brush over it, but a couple of breaths that we'll be emphasizing today, and that is in through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing, no clenching, no stopping that breath cycle. So there's a flow from inhale to exhale and exhale to inhale without stopping. So that's your vinyasa. You start there, and then the rest of the nervous system will follow suit. The other breath that you'll hear me emphasize is in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. This will naturally elongate the exhale, allowing the nervous system to naturally fall into this parasympathetic response. All right, so again, but no pausing in the breath cycle. That's the flow. You start there, and the mind and body will follow suit. So let's go ahead and put it into practice. So notice the tailbone. And notice the tailbone, and you can use your imaginastics. I call it the imaginastics. But take your tailbone and hook it into the center of the earth. You can find it, just kind of feel this kind of sense of pulling towards the center of earth. And then take your awareness and your focus and come right up the spine. Come up right up the spine to the top of your head. And let your head just find naturally its center of gravity to where the head is light. The head is light. And that is grounded and centered. Draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck and broaden through the collarbone. And see if you can notice a sense of lightness in the body. Continue to breathe in through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. And then let's go ahead and start with the neck. And then looking over the left shoulder, lengthen it through the top of the neck, in through the nostril, and then this time out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And then looking over to the right side. Lengthening through the top of the neck, in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips, and then coming back to center. And then this one, a little rotation of the neck. So we're going to look over to the left and then look straight up. You're looking straight up and then coming up and over to the other side. And then looking straight up, looking up, and then coming up and over to the other side. And then dropping the chin. You want to drop the chin, coming up and over to the other side. And then dropping the chin, coming up and over to the other side. And then bringing the head back. And then let's go ahead and stretch. So let's take the head and just let it lean over. If you're mirroring it, it would be over to the right. You can just let your head hang over to the right and feel that nice stretch in the left side of your neck, in through the nostril and out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. And then come on back up, nice and gentle. And then tilting over to the other side, allowing that nice stretch in the neck, breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. Just noticing any sensations. Any sensations. It's all included. There's no wrongs, no rights. But I do want you to take care of yourself. If something feels good, do it well. If something does not feel good, don't do it. All right, always, always. Okay. And then let's go ahead and work on the shoulders. All right, so let's find our goalposts. Find our goalpost, and then go ahead and invert the goalpost. And then on the inhale, come back into the goalpost, rotating those shoulders, and then exhaling. And you just link up your breath. This is the flow. This is the rhythm. No pausing in the breath cycle. No pausing in the movement cycle. No pausing in the breath cycle. No pausing in the movement cycle. As it all links up together and you find this rhythm and this flow. And once you find this rhythm and this flow and you can see it, you can add it to anything you do. Anything you do. All right. And then back on the inhale. And then go ahead and finish the exhale. And then just shake it out. Shake out the arms, natural movement. And then come back to the goalposts and we're going to contract and extend. So let's bring the elbows in, contracting, and then on the exhale, go ahead and open up, expand, squeezing a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then back. This is working the shoulder girdle, opening up the shoulder girdle, bring it forward, and then link up your breath in through the nostril, out through the nostril, no pausing in the breath cycle, linking breath and movement, this flow, this vinyasa, this rhythm, being in the zone, and then pressing forward, and then exhaling, squeezing. You see, if you can feel your shoulder girdle working to open up the shoulder girdle, let's bring this back into a inhale, and then one more finishing up on the exhale, and then shake it out. Shake it out. And then let's work on the side bodies, opening up the thoracic cavity for the lungs to breathe. Hands behind your head. You can do a little warm up, a little left, a little right. You're lifting up through those ribs, through those intercostals. You're lifting up through those intercostals. All right, and come on back up into center, or re-squeeze that tailbone. And then I'll be your mirror. So we're going to go up and over to your right. So you want to lift up through the ribs, lifting up, breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle. And breathing. And then come on back up. And we'll re-squeeze that tailbone. And then we'll go up and over the other way. So on the inhale, you're lifting up through the ribs, through the intercostals. And then on the exhale, just supporting with the opposite side. Lifting up. Finding a little bit extra room for those lungs to breathe. And then come on back up. And then let's do some cat-cow. So I'm going to give you a little side profile, cat-cow. If there's any emphasis that I can put on working with the upper body, it is working on flexibility in the spine. All right, flexibility in the spine, super duper important. Probably number one, along with the breath. Number one with the breath is finding flexibility in the spine. So the cow is the inhale. So you want to inhale, pressing the sternum forward, and then you're looking up. So you find the stretch in the neck, broadening through the collarbone, and the sternum is pressing out. All right, that's the inhale. And then on the exhale, you're tucking the chin, pressing the forehead towards the knees. And the spine this is the cat, so it's pressing out that way. So you want to tuck the chin and curl under. And then on the inhale, lifting up, broadening through the collarbone, dropping the head back, opening up, and then on the exhale, tucking the chin, pressing the spine out. And then no pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle. Just smooth inhales, smooth exhales, and the breath is linking up with the movement. And come on back up. And then we'll come to center. And let's continue working on the shoulder girdle. You can take your right hand, put it on your left shoulder, and then you're going to do a little PNF stretch. And take your opposite hand, and you want to press it into that elbow. Elbow pressing into the fingertips. 10% effort. That's all you need to release the fascial system. But for 7 seconds, 3 times. So we're already 5, 4, and then relax. That's your first set. Coming into the second set of 7 seconds, pressing the elbow pressing into the fingertips, and breathing. And releasing. And then one more time for 7 seconds, pressing in. You can do this on any body part and it will relax the fascia. It will open up. 10% effort is all you need. You don't, if it's any painful or anything sharp, you just stop. You don't want to do anything like that. But it should feel good. It should just feel a nice little resistance and then relax. And see if you can notice any shift in that shoulder girdle. Okay. And then the next, opposite. And then pressing in. Now I know you might notice a difference from one arm to the next. So this arm feels a little bit different to me. I've used my left arm a lot. And so pressing in that, so just a little bit different. So pressing into the fingertips, 10% effort, 7 seconds. And there's the first set, and then coming into the second set, pressing, and then relaxing, releasing, and then pressing, and releasing. And then shake that out. Shake that out. Some organic movement. And then let's give ourselves a little twist. Super important again on these twists, spinal twists. And then you want to look over the left shoulder, take your left hand, put it as a support on the tailbone. As you take your right hand, put it on the opposite knee, lifting up and looking over, lifting up and over, and breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle. So sorry, pardon me. Smooth inhales, smooth exhales. Look for pleasant sensations. And then come back to center. And then the left hand on the right knee. And the right hand on the tailbone supporting, lifting up to the top of the head and then twisting up and over to the right. And breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. And release. And then shake it out. And then the next exercise you think is the lower body, but it is so important for the upper body as well. So we're going to do a wide-legged squat. And I want to talk to you about pleasant sensations. So let's, pleasant sensations. All right, let's go ahead and the feet are out and then dropping the tailbone, and then so you want to find a comfortable position, even if you have to support yourself with the blocks, okay? So even if you have to do something like this, I'm just offering you a way to think about it, but you want to find yourself in a comfortable position where you're like, okay, that feels good. All right, so you just find a comfortable position, and then it's just about letting gravity do its job. So over time, the hips are going to open up, the pelvic girdle is going to resettle, and then there's this relaxation in the spine, this elongation in the spine. Super good for your lower back. Super good for your lower back. I suggest 2 minutes a day. We won't get that far in this class, but 2 minutes a day. But as you're hanging out, like this is a static position, look for pleasant sensations. All right. So pleasant sensations would include, okay, it can include many different pleasant sensations, but any type of relaxation. You might notice a body part or the body go from tight to light. So there's a relaxation, a relief, a release. You can look for big organic breaths or sighs or even yawns. I love yawns. And then the next category of pleasant sensations would be when you notice that the mind is still and you are just present here, now, content. Present here, now, content. Maybe even at peace. You might notice that you are at peace. Everything is okay, a sense of safety. Everything is okay. That would be another pleasant sensation. All right? So we want to look for these pleasant sensations as we are in the practice here, and then throughout the day. Throughout the day, looking for these pleasant sensations. And then let's go ahead and come back into seat. You can sit down and then straighten out your legs and give yourself a little tapotment. All right. This should feel good. Letting that fascia just release. Okay. And then we'll come back into seat. We have just a few more minutes left in class. So let's stimulate the cranial nerves and glands. All right. So let's give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug, oxytocin, and then just rub in the arms, nose nice and straight, and then big breath in through the nostril and exhale through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril and exhale through pursed lips. And then switch it up, left arm over right. And then big breath in through the nostril and exhale through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril and exhale through pursed lips. And then shake it out. All right. And then the next is turning off the TV. So hypothalamus stimulation, pineal gland stimulation, and just a little left and right. We're linking up left and right hemisphere of the brain, a little tap. I call it snap a tap, turning off the TV. And then a little snap looking left, and then snap looking right, and then to the left, and to the right, and a little tap. And then the TV in the head, just look right at the TV in the head. What do you see? Just see what you see. And then thumbs on the temple. And then what's another way of looking at this? What's another way of looking at this? What's another way of looking at this? Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. And then a little tap up the one arm, tap up the other arm. You just kind of give yourself a little tap. All right. And then touch the left shoulder to the right knee, right shoulder to the left knee. Crisscross applesauce. All right. And then the bones of the face. You want to tap the bones of the face. So the eyebrow. And just look for pleasant sensations. Okay? You're doing it soft and easy. And as you're doing it, you might just notice, it kind of feels pretty good. Especially on these masseters. Oh, my. Oh, jaw, collarbone, and then the thymus. All right. And then you take your hands and rub the kidneys. That's where your adrenal glands are. And then tap the forehead right over the top of the head to about C7. And then shake it out. All right. All right. Let's bring the practice into the day. All right. Rhythm and flow. So shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone, centered and grounded through the spine. Find your center of gravity. Notice how the body just relaxes on the center of gravity. You're not fighting against your own body. No pausing in the breath cycle. This will calm the animal brain. Your sense of time will relax into the now. It's always now. Always now. And this will allow for you to find that rhythm, that flow, that in the zoneness. And then as we go through the day, spoil yourself. Give yourself the gift of looking for pleasant sensations all through the day. All right. Any opportunity for the body to relax, to go from tight to light. Any opportunity for the body to just take a big organic breath, sigh, or yawn. And then those really wonderful opportunities when you notice and you recognize that you are present. The mind is still, and you are just present here, now, content. Everything's okay, and maybe even peace, your most natural state. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Have an amazing day. Be safe, have fun, live with purpose. Namaste.